This week we are doing art that's inspired by Studio Ghibli, 2 of the films. First up is Cat Returns and then Ponyo. I'm doing a painting based on the Cat Returns because a friend of mine's daughter just had a birthday and she loves this movie. So I did a graphite transfer for this project. I kind of compiled the image in Photoshop and then printed the outlines, and then I made a graphite transfer paper, just scribbling pencil onto a piece of paper, and then flipped it upside down and traced it. I've got the bottom right-hand corner cut to the edge of my board so that I can line it up multiple times. So if I wanted to do more transfer, I can. And then you just trace over it where the graphite paper is with a ballpoint pen, and it transfers the pencil. And then I went over the pencil lines, some of them, with a Sharpie so that I could do washes and paint over it, and I'd still get a little bit of the image coming through. So that's what's happening here. I'm using acrylics on just a piece of wood. It's a piece of Luan. So I was putting her in place of Haru, the girl that's the lead in The Cat Returns.
Thank you.
The main character. They wanted her flying away from the realm of the cats, holding hands with the Baron. So we moved the Baron from her shoulder onto the other crow, replacing Muta. So what did you guys think of this movie?
It was cool and pretty.
Yeah.
I like that.
Studio Ghibli movies are always so pretty. They have so much detail in the backgrounds.
And then they just have like the little things that you wouldn't see in Disney movies, like cooking dinner.
Yeah, little moments are a big deal in Ghibli movies. They give things a lot more space. So I made the skin color just mixing orange and white, which is what I always do. And then I add maybe red and brown if I'm doing shadows on skin tones. So I based out all of the colors, and usually when I'm basing, if there's some strong shadows, I'll try to base the shadows in also. I like to paint the background before painting any foreground elements, because that way the clouds go across behind in a natural way and they're not getting cut off, and I'm not having to constantly paint the clouds around the people. But I go back in and do details afterwards on the clouds and stuff. But it just makes it easier if you've got the background based before you start working on the foreground. Well, at least easier for me. These crows come in and save the day, rescue her from the cat kingdom. Who is your favorite character? Do you like Muta the grumpy cat, or Yuki the girl cat who's working in the palace and helps Haru and ends up marrying the prince?
I like Yuki. She's
you like
cool.
Yuki? Yeah, she was really pretty.
Yeah.
The Baron's fun.
Why is it the Baron?
Because it's the Baron.
It's a title, not a name. His name is Von something.
One kitty cat.
So the character of the Baron, who's the cat in the top hat, is a figurine in an antique shop in the movie A Whisper of the Heart that came out before this movie did. So this was him returning, and this time he gets to actually interact with the character and have some magical powers and autonomy. You know who my favorite character is?
Mm.
The king. The king with his crazy fur and his crazy eyes and his crazy. Liked the king a lot. He was really funny. He's sort of the bad guy in it, but it's just because he's nuts. And he's trying to force Haru to marry the prince, and it turns out that the prince doesn't even want to marry her. The prince comes back and he's like, "What are you doing, Dad? Get it together, Dad."
He's like, what?
"I want to marry this pretty cat over here. I don't want to marry that human girl."
That human girl that you almost turned into a cat.
Yeah, that human girl that you kidnapped and tried to turn into a cat. Shame on you, Dad. It's time for you to retire. Take it easy. Take a load off. Clearly the pressure has gotten to you. Painting a likeness of an actual person who actually exists, especially if it's going to be in their house, up close and personal, is such a challenge. I do a lot of paintings, but usually for theater, and so the audience is never closer than 20 feet away from them. So it's a bigger challenge when you're doing paintings that are going to be seen up close. So I used mixed media for this, actually. I used the acrylics to do all the basing, and then I did some of the outlining and added a little bit of texture with alcohol markers and colored pencils. I noticed in a lot of the Ghibli films, they do mixed media. It's pretty clearly a mix of watercolors and colored pencils. That way you have a lot of control over the textures and the colors, and I think it works really nicely, and it worked really nicely here.
And now Ponyo.
So for Ponyo, we decided to do some hanging mobiles for Sam's room. She's got the jellyfish lanterns that we made a year ago in her room. And so these are hanging around the lanterns. So you guys drew characters. What you doing, Sam?
I'm drawing Ponyo and her 3 farms.
Yeah, so what's the story of Ponyo?
How you do it?
The story of Ponyo is that Ponyo is this little fish girl who is the daughter of the sea, and she goes out, has an adventure, and ends up meeting Sosuke. This is little boy, like 5 years old or something.
He is 5, yeah.
Sosuke cuts his finger on a rock, and then Ponyo licks it and makes it magically healed.
And because she licked it, she's able to turn human.
Yeah.
And then she goes and hangs out with Sosuke and Sosuke's mom. And Sosuke's mom's like, oh, your fish turned into a human? Sure. Invite her to dinner.
Life is weird sometimes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Sosuke's mom. Sosuke is so sweet. And his mom is like, oh, we're going to roll with it. I know you're only 5, but you're very brave. You got this.
He was like, yeah, you can have a sister that used to be a fish. That's okay.
This is you guys drawing on our couch loud truck. This is how you guys always draw. You sit on the couch with your iPads on your knees and you draw with your fingers. You're both using Procreate. Ponyo was you guys' favorite when you were little. You guys both had obsessions with Ponyo when you were Sosuke's age. I think it's one of the few Ghibli movies that's really just fine for super little kids.
There's no high school teenagers.
It's not too scary. It's a little scary because for a little while Sosuke's mom is missing. He doesn't know where she is and he's scared. But otherwise it's not super scary and it's super pretty. Just like all of them, it's super pretty. You get a lot of really beautiful underwater action and magical sea creatures. It's really pretty. Who's your favorite character in Ponyo?
I like Ponyo's mom.
I like Ponyo.
Yeah, Ponyo's fun. She's very spunky and she's
They're
very...
little sisters.
Ponyo's very spunky and she's very curious and energetic and stuff. Yeah. Ham! She likes ham. She likes everything pretty much. She just likes exploring. Why do you like Ponyo's mom?
She's really calm and pretty.
She's very calm. Yeah, when Fujimoto's like, everything's out of balance. The whole world is ending. We're all doomed. Ponyo's in love with a human. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? And she's like, Ponyo, what a lovely name. Let's let them sleep. They need their sleep. They need their rest. I like Sosuke because he's so sweet. He's just so sweet. And I like Sosuke's mom. She's very relatable. That moment when she cuddles Sosuke and sings Happy As Can Be, it's so relatable as a parent to just whatever you're feeling, you gotta be a mommy. So once you guys had drawn all of your sea creatures, then we printed them and cut them out, and then we added the inside of chip bags, the silver inside, to kind of add some little shinies. I had taken all of your drawings and I printed them as drawn, and then I flipped them over and printed the reverse of everything so that we could sandwich them and they would be double-sided. So then we taped them onto a piece of paper and then just used a little glue stick and glued the two halves together. Then we used a glue stick to glue the shinies on also. So first you cut it out, and then you cut out the shinies from the inside of the bag and glue those on with a glue stick. And then you tape on the string, and then you glue on the second half, the matching second half. Then you let it fall on the floor, and then you pick it up, and then you actually glue on the second half. Boom. So we put a couple of different sea creatures per string, kind of spaced them out, and then we taped them to the ceiling, and easy peasy lemon squeezy. You've got all the different forms of Ponyo, because she transforms in the movie. There's lots of versions of her as she's transforming from a fish to a human. And then she's got little sisters who are the fish shape. And then we hung them up next to the jellyfish lights. What do you think, Sam?
It looks really good.